All right. Well, hello, everybody. I can see that there's 6 of you and more are probably going to join us as we get going, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce us to you. Hello, you were looking at the two Karens at the university that are charged with helping you in your career search. My name is Karen Bovenmeier, and I work at the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, where I prepare future faculty. I've been in this job for 18 years and 7 months, Workday tells me. And I've prepared over 1,000 PhD students and postdocs for the professorate. Now, I know that most of you are probably interested in industry, which is why the star of our show is going to be Karen Lawton Dunn. And then after her presentation about industry, I will follow up with those of you who want to be professors. So Karen, go ahead and introduce yourself and the wonderful Graduate College Career Services.
Thank you. And you know, maybe you could put in the chat if you are looking at academia, industry, or as I say at this point, maybe a little of both, because you're not sure where the jobs are going to be by the time you get done. So go ahead and put that in the chat. But I am Karen Lawton Dunn. I am the Karen with an I, and Karen Bovenmeier is the EN. But we do a lot together over the last several years that we've been working. So I work in Pearson for the Graduate College, and I work with all graduate students except for College of Business graduate students. They do have their own career services in College of Business, but Tabitha and I work connectively. So we work back and forth, and so that's not a problem. You can always contact me, and I'm going to go over a little bit about what career services is at Iowa State and how you might get prepared really for whatever field you're hoping to go into. So I see one Nicole has said specifically community college. We have one that's both academia and industry. And so I'm going to share my screen, and I don't use WebEx a lot. I use a lot of Zoom. So let's hopeful that I get this okay with everybody. And and I'm working off my laptop, so we'll see. So who can see? Tell me what you can see right now, because that's what I like to know. Karen, can you tell me what you see?
I can see about 1/4 of your screen.
That's you might want to maximize that window. Yeah.
Good. And do you see yourself? I just took the picture down, so we couldn't see Karen. Okay. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of what I do here at Iowa State University, and maybe how you could do a better job of preparing for that. I'm just trying to make sure I have this looking right, so we'll see where we go next. Okay, let's see, because my computer was not liking. I was trying to get on here today. We'll just scroll down like this. So one thing I guess I want to talk about in graduate college and career services is that there's a lot of similarities between academic careers and industry careers. And so I've kind of highlighted a few things along the way, but really when we look at career services, we want to start first at talking about what are your interests, your skills, and your values. And this really starts out as what we call an individual development plan. Some of you may have heard about this from other universities. Some universities require all of their graduate students and postdocs to have individual development IDPs, but we don't. We highly suggest it. So I do have some forms that we can go through an individual development plan that really looks at your career, your skills, your interests, and your values to see if you're interested in economics, but what kind of economics are you interested? Are you interested in teaching? Are you interested in analytical economics? Are you looking at more practical economics, maybe within a business? So there's a wide range of jobs and areas within each of those majors, and we want you to know about all the different opportunities that are available for you. Even though you come into grad school thinking that there may be only one job out there, there's really a multitude, and that's what we're hoping to get across while you're here at Iowa State. So I work with students in my office on career planning. We work on something called informational interviews, which is a great way to start to build connections and get to know people that are in jobs with those majors that you have, and finding out all the different kinds of jobs that they do. Networking, it really goes right along with informational interviews, and a lot of people are very scared of networking. And the thing I want you to know is that networking has nothing to be afraid of. and the more introverted you are, it's not a problem. And in fact, in this COVID and digital world, I have found that my introverted students are doing better at networking, maybe than the extroverted, the ones that like me that are used to seeing people face to face. Networking virtually is the way to do it, right? That is the way we're doing it in 2020 and 2021. And so a lot of people are out there excited about meeting with people on Zoom, on WebEx, just through email. And so that networking and informational interviews go hand in hand. When we get down to the difference really then is between the teaching and your industry experience. If you're looking at going into academia, we really want you to get in there and get teaching experience, which is where Karen Bovenmeier will talk about preparing future faculty. And then also some research. I mean, if you're looking at a teaching research position, you need to get some kind of research experience as you're going along. If you're looking at industry, that research and teaching can still serve you very strongly going into industry. Industry thinks highly of people who know how to get up and explain difficult concepts to people who don't understand that concept, which happens with the teaching assistant. So we always want to support those, but we also really want to encourage you to try to find out some internships or ways to get some hands-on industry experience. And some majors that's easier to do than others. And so that's something that we need to work with your supervisor, your major professor, and your program and find out where that might fit. Sometimes we can go back to that skills, interests, and values assessment that I call the individual development plan and use that as a way to show your faculty member, look, I really need to get some more skills in this area. This is what that individual development plan shows. And as you use that along with your collaboration with your major professor, it might open up some more opportunities as you show them that there's a need for that. Professional development is all the things you're going to do while you're here at Iowa State. I believe many of you have already heard about Center for Communication Excellence. There's a lot of different programs, PFF, there's CELT, a lot of different programs around campus. So we really want you to get some professional development in a variety of areas around campus. And I think really get involved. Try not to just stay in your lab. We want you to get involved and be involved in student organizations or within your department. Maybe there's student organization, maybe it's student government, maybe it's volunteering within the community, but all of those opportunities to expand who you are around help your resume and your CV as you get closer to finding those jobs. It allows you to have cross-disciplinary experiences, multicultural experiences, maybe more writing. Maybe you can do some volunteer grant writing for a small company or a small nonprofit. All of those experiences are going to help you develop as a professional and be ready to go out into the work world. Then the bigger difference between academia and industry is really curriculum vitas tend to be an academic careers topic, and where a resume tends to be something that's in industry. And curriculum vitas are longer. They usually have publications and all of that information. And usually industry is not interested in all of that information unless it's a research position. Now, research R&D positions, they sometimes will ask specifically a resume with publications or a resume plus whatever they're wanting to know. So that just kind of gives us a little clue of how long they want that information for you to do. And we're going to talk about interview skills within the career services here on how to do virtual interview questions, interviews that are face-to-face. We have a lot of different interviews that are happening now with a lot of skills testing that are going on. And so I haven't really received a lot of training in that area, but I have resources so that if you're a programmer, they a lot of times want you to code virtually online when you're doing these interviews. So that gets a little stressful. And then just all the way down to negotiating a job. That's a big job in itself, and you should always negotiate. There's always room to negotiate for a job. So we're going to move down here. One other thing I want to talk to you quickly about is applicant tracking systems. Whenever you're hiring, whenever you're out looking for jobs, in industry right now, pretty much every industry is having you upload your resume and it's being scanned in by a computer. And so that scanning of that computer process now turns your resume into data analytics. And it is now being read by a computer, and machine learning is taking over, and not a human being is reading that resume. Right now, academia, the CVs are still being read, by human beings in most universities. However, with 2020, the move to the digital world, I see that that academic positions are going to be in the next few years probably transitioned into that applicant tracking system where they're going to be scanned for keywords. So that's something just to keep in mind as you start to look at internships, especially on those industry sides, something that I offer a lot of different workshops and a lot of one-on-one resources to help you get your resume in order so that it can be read by those applicant tracking systems. And even your interviews these days, if you record them, many times you have to video record or record your interviews that to nobody. They ask the question and you just try it a couple times. That actually gets scanned in, and they turn your voice, your oral communication, they turn that into text, and they run the text of what you said through an applicant tracking system. And then they may use artificial intelligence to watch your facial expressions. Or for me, I'm a hand talker, so that comes across even online. One of the things to remember is that Workday that we have here at Iowa State is an applicant tracking system. So here at Iowa State, we are doing, HR is doing scanning in of resumes. And so if you're looking for like a research scientist position or a PNS level position, some of those may be scanned in, and it's something that we just need to be aware of, that people aren't reading our resumes these days. People are, the computer is. And so if we want to be seen by people, we need to get our resume to a human being. And that's where networking really comes in. And so when we talk about networking, these numbers are really pre-COVID numbers, but 60 to 80% of job seekers were finding their jobs through networking. And so that's something that you need to start. If you're a first year master's student, wow, we need to get right off the bat. We need to start networking, right? If you're in a program that's a PhD program that's going to be around 4 or 5, 6 years, you have a little bit more time. But it's never too early to start networking and making connections with people out in the field to find out if that's really something you're interested in going into, or maybe learning about the new jobs. Most of our jobs that we have today do not exist, or that we're going to have in 5 years, probably their titles don't even exist. When I started in this job 7 years ago in this position, we had nothing about bioinformatics or bioinformatician. HCI, human computer interaction, was a new major, and those things are very common now. So we just don't always know where those new titles are going to go, and we really need to keep up on what is coming down the research pike. And you guys are in a great position to learn about that. So really keep an eye on what's coming down, because you're going to be one of the first people to know what those new position titles are going to be. What we offer here at the Graduate College is I do offer individual consultations with graduate students and postdocs. We have student scholar organizations that invite me to come in and speak. I go to a lot of faculty seminars for their grad student seminars. I presented a lot of workshops. You can see the variety of topics that I do. I'm even going to do one on Twitter here coming this fall. So I try to keep up on what's coming and what's new trends also. The one thing to know is that LinkedIn is very important in finding a job in this day and age, especially in industry. But even in academia, all of our jobs right now at Iowa State are being advertised on LinkedIn. And Iowa State's HR office even added their own LinkedIn page in the last year. So LinkedIn has become something that everyone across the board in industry and academia are looking to promote their jobs and find people. So we can always, and you'll find out I'm a LinkedIn guru, but this is just a variety of things that I offer. This is a little bit more about career services that we do have. I have some recordings. The one beauty that's happened during COVID is I was able to record different workshops. So I have some recordings of what an informational interview and networking are. I have a recording on what a resume. I have a recording on LinkedIn. We also had an alumni that came and, or actually he's a current PhD, just graduated, that he talked about that interview question, tell me about yourself, right? Tell us about yourself. That's always difficult. So if you're interested in watching any of those webinars, they're about an hour long, so you just need to be prepared that it might be a little longer to watch. You're more than welcome to do that. So I have all of our contact information. Whenever you want to reach out to anybody in my office, you want to contact gradcareers@iastate.edu. I do have 2 graduate students, and so Mong Shell, she is now working with graduate students, doing that initial kind of resume and getting you started. And then the next meeting probably will be with me when we move on to the LinkedIn and networking and the next steps. Down here, we also have the academic colleges, the career fairs. If you go down to here, you want to make sure there's a engineering career fair, I believe tomorrow or Wednesday. And so a lot of career fairs that are starting. This is a great place to look for maybe internships. If you are a PhD student, don't anticipate finding a job at these career fairs, but it's a great place to network and find people and find out what areas they're, what new areas are they going to be researching? What is the really the niche that they have on their research, so that maybe you can kind of match that if it's something of interest to you. And also Graduate Business Career Services, here's a link to their office. Tabitha Carney works with all of our College of Business people. This is just a little bit, I'm going to leave this for you. You should have all gotten this this agenda or this handout, and this is actually a video that's kind of just a nice little 3-minute video that tells you why it's important to start career exploration and not wait to the last minute. It's really focused on our postdocs and our PhDs, but which is nice because a lot of times career exploration hasn't been focused to them. But this is a great thing that you can just click and watch on your own time, and it's only about 3 minutes long. So that is, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing, and I want to find out what questions you might have. So that's just kind of my quick overview, and I'm here to answer questions that you might have, or we can let Karen go on and talk about academia, and then we can answer all the questions at the same time. And feel free to take yourself, I don't know if you have the ability to take yourself off mute or not in this format. If you want to do that, you can certainly ask a question out loud or type it into the chat.
And you can also raise your hand on WebEx, and then if I see that, I can unmute whoever has their hand raised.
Great, thanks, Sarah.
Mhm.
I need to use the WebEx more now that it's added more features, so. I don't see any right at the moment. Karen, do you want to go ahead and start talking about the academic side of this, and then we can see what questions? Oh, jobs abroad. Well, why don't we just hold on to that after Karen, and then we'll talk about that, okay? Oh, we can't hear you, Karen.
Hey.
I know.
You can find faculty jobs abroad as well, so we can touch on that too. I just put a couple of links into the chat for you to click on if you'd like to. What I do here at CELT, again, is to prepare professors, and I see that some of you already wrote into the chat whether or not you were planning to go into the professorate. But here I have, let's see, an inquiry that I'd like you guys to take. So go ahead and click on that link, menti.com, HOAH, that link, the first link, or go to the second one and enter this code. And I'd like you to go ahead and take this inventory. And if it's not working, please speak up or type into the chat. Okay, we got one response. Can you guys see the responses coming in on the screen here? Two responses. 4. Anyone else want to enter a response? You can see here, this Mentimeter is a fun thing that you can do in your classrooms to liven things up. And as you can see here on the display, it shows the distribution behind the answers. Oh, good. Some more of you have entered. Excellent. So if you look at the first answer, where I want to work after I leave Iowa State, most of you are in the middle of, not quite totally sure yet, but it's not like you're not clueless as to where you want to work after ISU. The second group, we've got some people who are not very confident in their job materials and people who are reasonably confident in their job materials. Oh, and we just got another entry. Thank you. It looks like you guys are evenly spread across your confidences for creating a job application. Succeeding at a job interview, there's a few of you who are not very confident and a couple of you who are quite confident. Most of you are not sure how to design and deliver a college level course though. And you guys are kind of in the middle with how I can conduct research on my teaching. So it's always interesting to do this little survey and just sort of see where everybody ends up. See 5 of you right in the middle there of the research. 4 of you, not very confident. 3 of you, pretty confident in the interview. 4 of you, pretty confident in your polished materials. So what preparing future faculty can give you is a look at what the options are as a professor. So we have a class that we teach every fall, and this is a competitive process to get into this class. And you'll see it on the PFF link that I put in the chat. The application process, you are competing to get a spot. So it would go on your resume or vita under awards. The class that we teach is every fall, and we invite faculty panels from a bunch of different schools, from your big research universities clear down to community colleges in size and shape, the liberal arts schools, the religiously identified schools. These people, from the kindness of their hearts, come and sit on a panel to tell you what it's like to work at those schools, what you need to do in order to get hired at those schools, and how you need to prepare yourself properly to become promoted and do well and succeed at those schools. In that class, we also help you create your application materials. Now, a lot of you were pretty confident on the application materials, but our iterative revision process for making your curriculum vitae, your scholarship or research statement, and your cover letter really produces high quality materials that get our students jobs. The next class that we teach, it's every spring, and this is one that gives you extra teaching experience. So for those of you who want to be professors, one of the most important things to be hired to be a professor is to have some good teaching experience, because that's a huge part of your job if you want to become a professor. Now, I know that everyone is always emphasizing the research, publish, publish, publish. And that's true, but in today's market, you really need to know how to teach. So that's what we do. And we also help you write your teaching philosophy statement and your diversity statement. Now, a lot of jobs are requiring a diversity statement, not just teaching related ones. And so this is something to look into for how to write that document. Then if you decide you want to stay in the program and learn more, we have a teaching practicum, a class that helps stand by your side as you teach a new class or new to you class and become the person in charge of a course if you've never done that before. And preparing future faculty students get special permission above that what other students get in their departments. The last class that we teach is an independent project class. So what we ask you to do is look at your CV and look at a couple of job ads for professors and think about, what am I missing? What is this job asking me to know or do or show, and I don't have any evidence of that? And we help you design a project to fulfill that hole. Additionally, every PFF class, we ask that you have a mentor, someone who isn't your major professor, who can be by your side and tell you what it is like to be a faculty member. Now, why do we ask you for this not to be your major professor? Because you already talked to them a lot. You learned about their lives, but because the power structure is different, like they're usually your boss, it can be hard to ask them direct questions like, what's it like to be a parent and teach? So someone's asking, can I take 586 without taking 585? You won't learn as much. We ask you to take 585 before you take 586 so that you have a really good idea of where you want to go. Now, if you're asking because fall semester is underway and you've already missed a 585 class and you're going to be graduating shortly and you want to get in on the 586 class, what I can do is share some materials with you that will help you get ready. So mentoring is important. It's important to set up these mentoring relationships. Thank you. Because when you start your new job, no matter where you go, industry or academe, you may or may not be officially assigned someone to teach you the ropes and to help you understand what it's like to work there. And so it's a really good idea to arrange mentoring across multiple levels for yourself, because successful people find mentors among their peers, they find mentors above them, and sometimes even mentors below them. Finding mentoring across the spectrum and across different areas of life can really help you succeed. Again, teaching in PFF is easier to get because you say, hey, I'm in the PFF program and I need to teach a class to be part of it. And departments have been very accommodating to the PFF students in the last couple of decades that we've been running this program. Another benefit that we give you is a transcript notation. So it will say on your transcript, preparing future faculty associate, fellow, or scholar, depending on the number of PFF classes that you've taken. And again, this would go under your awards on the Vita. Here's a little research that we did, mirroring the Mentimeter that you took earlier, but especially people didn't know about what differences there were between the various kinds of schools when hiring. And PFF really is the only way to get that inside information from live people who come to talk to you. Another benefit of PFF is it is all across all the disciplines. So you will be in a small group and that you get to meet other graduate students from a whole bunch of different fields, which gives you another chance to practice networking and to practice your teamwork skills across disciplines, which is very important for industry. Okay, so that's the Preparing Future Faculty program, which is a local Iowa State University program. But I also want to tell you about CERTL, the NSF-funded Center for the Integration of Research, Teaching, and Learning. We pay here at Iowa State a $10,000 fee to be a member of this network so that you can take their classes and go to their seminars and improve yourself, prepare yourself to be on the academic job market. And I also put that link in the chat earlier. So please go ahead and go to CERTL, check out what the events are and sign up for them, and get yourself more ready. So here's a snapshot of that website. And again, here's that link, which should be in the chat. Okay, I also want to tell you about CELT, and there's a link to CELT that I pasted in the chat as well. That's the unit that I work for and that Preparing Future Faculty is housed in. And the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, we're always running events and programs to help the teachers of Iowa State practice, make changes, deal with frustrations, just be really successful and have a community of others to talk and share with. And many of you probably attended the teaching assistant seminar that was part of our CELT teaching symposium at the beginning of every spring and at the beginning of every fall semester, where we work through some scenarios together to help you get ready to be in the classroom. So what we try to do here at CELT is just provide you with the highest level of information that you might need to know as a teacher to help you land those jobs. Okay, but the bottom line is, I want you to understand that people like Karen and I are here at this school being paid, like you're our bosses, right? Being paid to help you. So we're here to serve you and help you and lift you up and get you to that next place that you want to go. In short, we care about your future. So contact us if you have any questions about teaching or learning here at CELT, because that's our area, is teaching jobs. If you have any questions about your career after ISU, Karen or I can answer those questions. If you have a question or issue you're just not sure who to ask about, because maybe inside your department you're like, I don't really feel comfortable asking anyone this question. We're outside the power structures of your department. So you can ask us things that you don't really quite aren't sure that you want to ask someone in your department or your professor or whatever. So like we can help you find the help that you want to need at the department level, college level, and the administrative graduate college level. And my email address is pff@iastate.edu, and that's how you get a hold of me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So let me see here. Anybody else have some questions that they want to put into the chat?
I was going to go ahead and answer the one on jobs abroad. We have
Okay, cool.
a resource here. When you go out to this website, LAS has, every college has access to these informations, but there's a place called Going Global. And I'm going to see if I can pull that up real quick. I moved off of it. There it is. I'll share my screen and see if we can show you a little quick. Going Global is something that, again, Iowa State does pay to be a part of, and it is a pricey sort of thing that we have. Move this over here. So when you go down in this link, you'll be able to see Big Interview. One, this is where you can go out and practice interviewing on a recording. So you can actually record yourself and then send that recording, continue to practice and watch yourself. And the big thing about interviewing is that you really want to practice out loud. You want to not be thinking, oh, I'm going to say this in my head. So Big Interview is a really great program. I have not heard candidcareer.com, but that looks like a very good thing. SciHire, you will all have access to SciHire, where a lot of positions are notified for when you're on Iowa State campus or jobs that you might be looking for outside. And then here's Going Global. And this is both for US citizens and international students for finding jobs, not just in the United States, but around the world. So this would be also a great place for you to learn about different job opportunities. So that, if there's other questions, we'd be happy to help you.
Yeah, and again, if you have a question and you want to raise your hand, I can unmute you, or you can drop questions in the chat.
Not a question, but thank you for hosting this informational webinar. Good to know the resources I have available. Heck yeah, you guys. We're
Thank
here
you,
to
Michael.
help you.
Yeah.
Take good advantage of all the help that you're given here at ISU, because it's not necessarily put into a lunchbox for you. It's left out on a counter. And if you don't happen to walk by the counter with your plate at the right time and get it onto your plate, you know, nobody's going to like hand it to you in a little baggie. So, you know, be wandering around the buffet, my friends. There's a lot of stuff to help you here.
I love that analogy, Karen. And I think that's so true, is that you just have to get involved. And a lot of times right now, you don't know the questions to ask. And so you don't even know where to begin. And so, you know, if that's the way you're feeling and you're just trying to bounce some ideas, Karen and I, the two Karens, are really people here that we can help direct you and provide you to resources around campus. We may not have the answer, but we probably know somebody that can help you. So feel free to just kind of chat with people, and as you start to think of things, drop us an email, because it is hard to come up with the questions when you don't even know what to ask. So feel free to do that. And she put an appointment, you can make an appointment at the pff@iowastate.edu. And for mine, it's gradcareers@iastate.edu. And I'll put that in here too. So feel free to email us with any of those information or any questions you come across. And I do encourage you to get involved. Some faculty aren't as supportive about getting involved in student organizations or government than others, but I need to tell you that professionally you do need to be involved. And so if that becomes something that's a problem, you need to seek out people that can support you, whether that's me, whether that's administration in the graduate college or within your department or Karen, but you do want people that are going to support your need to connect with other people around not only the university, but just around careers in general around the world. So feel free to do that and reach out to us.
And like Karen said earlier, taking that individual development plan test and saying, oh, these are the things that I need, and showing that to your major professor or your committee and just saying, hey, I really need some more public teaching skills. Can I get some more public speaking skills? Can I get some more teaching? Can I, I've joined Toastmasters and I'm working on that, or whatever.
And really,
Arslan says,
I was going to say, really,
sorry, go ahead, Karen.
The PFF program is excellent, whether you're going to academia or industry, because when you go to industry, you're teaching people all the time. And so PFF really helps you develop to be a better teacher and presenting that information in a more better, I can't even say the word today, but PFF is great whether you're going into academia or not as far as teaching, because we're all going into jobs that we're going to teach people that maybe don't know the level of understanding that we have of something. As far as internships, usually you can take them in the summer, sometimes works best, and that's going to really depend on the department. So when is best to take the internship? I would really talk to your professors. I would talk to other graduate students within that department. You should have a Doge, who's the faculty that's in charge of graduate education, but you should also have what we call a graduate support person. And they're going to be a wealth of knowledge of telling you what's kind of typical for your program. You don't have as much time when you're doing a master's. So like if you just started this fall, next summer is going to be the time to start doing. And in these career fairs that are happening right now, a lot of companies are hiring for next summer in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. So you do need to start working on looking at internships for next summer right away.
More questions, you guys?
Good point. Karen put out, professor jobs are always a year in advance. So PhDs do not wait until your final year to prepare. That's way too late. Karen's like, oh no. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to want to have a pretty solid packet the year before your last year so that you can apply to things well in advance, and also not have to worry about writing really good job packet materials while you're trying to finish your dissertation and your obligations here at Iowa State. Like something like PFF, where we hold your hand, helping you do each little step of the job application process. Our students rave about how overwhelming the job search process is and getting the job and stuff, and how much PFF helped prepare them so that they had a clue, and they had their stuff ready, and they're just so grateful. And somebody just emailed us from his brand new professor job and said, I've been given these new classes to teach, and if I hadn't taken PFF and didn't have like a syllabus worked up and some things that I wanted to put together already figured out, this would feel so overwhelming and I would be so lost. It's nice to have something to start from and some knowledge to grow on. So hopefully, and if you're saying to yourself, Karen, it's too late. Karen, I'm going to graduate in December. What do I do? Oh my gosh. There's other ways that we can help you. It's not that you're up a creek without a paddle, to use that idiom. We are your paddles, no matter what stage of the creek you're on, and we will try and help you the best that we can You know, there's no time like the present. Get started as soon as you can. But Karen and I can help you whatever stage you're at. Do start early, but if you didn't, don't freak out. we can
Yeah,
figure out whatever you need.
I've had students come back and say they graduated in May and help. And, you know, sure, obviously they're not going to have a job upon graduation because they've already graduated, but it doesn't mean we can't help and get you back on track.
If someone wants to join industry, then is it recommended to get a PhD and then join industry, or an MS be enough for it? So a lot of jobs, the MS is enough. And in fact, one of you said they wanted to be a community college teacher. You don't need a PhD to be a community college teacher. Now, it can make you more competitive, but the requirements are you only need 18 graduate credits in a specific area. And so if you teach in that specific area, you need 18 graduate credits in it, and you can be a professor at a community college. Now let Karen talk about master's versus PhD in industry.
You're going to get this question a lot from me. It depends. It's really going to depend on the field and what exactly kind of positions are you looking for. Right now, there's a lot of data analytic positions that really PhDs and postdocs, people are looking for those. If you want to work at Intel and Google and Apple, they're looking. But if you're not looking for something quite like that, my suggestion would be to just start looking at job ads. I'd say go out to LinkedIn and search titles that you think are interesting, and then start looking at the job descriptions and finding out what they're looking for. Are they looking for a master's plus 5 years of experience? Well, then a PhD could probably count as that 5 years of experience. But maybe they're looking for a bachelor's or master's. So bachelor's plus 5, which do your master's. And so it's really going to depend on the business, the industry, the company. And I think, you know, year to year, we have to continue to evaluate that. Is it better? Is it cost effective to go on to that next level? Are you really going to increase your salary that much? Or is it going to help you find a job? And it totally depends on the field. I know some degrees, I would say you really need to go ahead and get that PhD. And then there's others that I have students that are saying, you know, I think I'm going to master out. I think I have enough for where I want to go. And so it's just a tough question, but it's something that you really should look into. Thanks for posting the professor job link. That's great.
It's my favorite professor job website, but there's plenty of others, and you guys are already pros at what's out there for searching for jobs, I'm sure. But Chronicle is really my favorite.
Yeah, the Chronicle is a great place for academic jobs. You will be surprised at how many jobs you find on LinkedIn. If you're looking at going into postdocs eventually, Iowa State, when we transferred to Workday, postdoc positions used to be kind of recruited by faculty. With Workday, now we all post our postdoc positions, and those are more open to people to find. So it's good for students because you can find more postdocs. Faculty maybe didn't care for that transition as much, but when you go out on LinkedIn, you can find faculty positions, postdoc positions all over the country and the world out there. So just start looking at all the different places. Indeed, some people use Glassdoor, all those different locations.
Any other questions or worries that we can help you with?
Thank you for asking these questions, everyone. I know Karen and I appreciate that because we could chat, but we want to make sure we hit your questions.
Karen, did you have a video as part of your presentation or something you wanted to show?
The video, actually, there is a video that's in the attachment that I sent. So it's in the PDF that you sent to everybody. So there should be a link to that. And it's a 3-minute video. I don't think we need to watch it on here. I think that'll be good for them to watch on their own. It does talk about what that individual development plan is. It talks about how the process of finding a career, whether it's academia, thank you. Whether it's in academia or industry, that it's not a straight line. There's going to be a lot of twists and curves in your journey to find your job. And you may get in your job 5 years and realize, you know what? I kind of want to go do something different, and that's okay. Our careers, you know, like I said, the titles keep changing. This is a great video just to kind of give you an idea that it's okay to change your mind. There are going to be bumps and bruises along the way. You're probably not going to get your ideal job right out of college. I think I got my ideal job right after undergrad, and after 3 years I was burned out. So I would say, you know, always kind of think about where you want to go on to. Stay committed. That's right, Karen. Stay committed.
And in each step that you take along your path, try and incorporate the things you really, really want to be doing, because every little thing that you do that you can add to your resume or add to your own personal experiences helps you grow in that direction and helps you network in that direction. And it can come true eventually. Just keep trying to build toward what it is that you want.
Sarah, are you going to post this video somewhere, or is this going to be something that people would have access to if we know somebody that we think would be get information out of this if they're wanting it?
Yeah, so obviously I've been recording all of these, and then I've been pretty much just cleaning them up on Premiere, and they should be posted hopefully this week to the orientation webpage on the Grad College's website, so I'll put that link in the chat. And we also have a YouTube channel, so they'll be on that as well.
Great, thank you very much.
Mhm. You're muted, Karen.
Oh, gosh darn it. They're moving furniture here, so it's really loud.
Oh,
Anne is asking, what if my my PI doesn't have enough stipend or financial aid to support me without me being a TA? Like, what else can I look for to fund my graduate studies if I don't want to be a TA? And I can answer a little bit in that. There are some very few graduate administrative assistantships, which is where you work, say, fixing stuff in Canvas for me at CELT, or you would work for the graduate college, say, updating the website or whatever it is they might have need to hire an administrative graduate assistant for. So some of your departments also might have admin grad assistants that they need. And some of these positions too are only for one semester or only for the summer or something like that. But keeping an eye out on the Iowa State Student Job Board is a place where I post whenever I need a grad assistant, but also pay attention to your graduate secretaries because they'll be sending out some of those jobs too. Karen?
Yeah, is it Anne or On? Are you an international student or a domestic or at all? That helps a little bit. Just to know that as an international student, you can only have additional jobs on campus paid for by Iowa State. International, that's what I wondered. So you can only have other positions, and I know what you're looking for is to get that tuition, not to have to take that international tuition, and that means you need to find some type of a TA position or a grad assistant. So I have 2 grad assistants working for me right now, and they're in that administrative concept, what Karen was speaking to. And so they are able to get that waiver to have, what is it, the in-state tuition, I believe it is, for grad students. But you can also find other funding sources. All international students can work at any location on campus. So a lot of the dining services have a lot of graduate students employed there. And those are really good because you end up being in management, sort of, and managing undergrads. And so you get some experience there. You also get free meals, is what my one grad student that works there for 10 hours a week still. So there's a lot of advantages in working on campus as an international student. If you're not an international student, you can really find jobs anywhere. It just may not pay for a stipend as far as towards your degree. But if you have a grad assistant as such, those are teaching assistant, those are part of that stipend.
Yeah, and I sometimes hire a quarter-time student and they add that to a half-time if they have it, or they reduce one of their half-times to a quarter-time and do 2 quarter-times. But I think, isn't there a rule that international students can only go up to a half-time assistantship? They can't do 3/4? Is that true?
I'm not sure of that.
That'd be a question for student services.
Yeah, that would not be,
Okay.
yeah.
So watch out for that if you're adding quarter-times to your studies. If you're a grad student, I think you can only do a 20-hour-a-week assistantship. But if you're not not an international student, I think you can do that's the 30-hour, because I've had students before that were domestic that worked that 3/4.
International students
says, yeah.
Is the
Oh, yeah.
is really your best bet to ask for anything with international students regarding what's allowable to work. And if you do internships outside of Iowa State, those can turn into what we call CPT if you're currently taking classes, or then OPT if you've graduated and are taking some time afterwards. So if you don't know what those words are, I would highly suggest you attend some of the ISSO orientations. I know they have done a lot of online orientations also that really spell out what's possible and what's not. And as we all know, ISSO or international guidelines change almost weekly right now within the federal government. It just depends on where things are going. So thank you for putting that link in there. That's a great question on.
Anything from anybody else?
Just going back, I don't think we missed any questions. I loved your Metimeter. I might have to borrow that. That was wonderful.
That and Kahoot are really fun to use. Kahoot is best if you're teaching a class, because with Kahoot, you guys who are TAs, your students get to see like this little Olympics thing at the end that shows who got the gold, who got the silver, and who got the bronze for answering your quiz question correctly. And it's really kind of fun, and it has like catchy music. That's Kahoot. But the one I used is called Mentimeter, and I'll get you those links here really shortly. Okay, here's the link to Mentimeter. Here's the link to Kahoot. And tip, sign in with your Iowa State email address. Just in case Iowa State has a membership, you might be able to get extra stuff for educational purposes, because Iowa State's an educational institution.
Well, feel free to reach out to the two Karens anytime. We are both some people that really like to help students and can chat with you a long time.
Do we have any last questions before we close for the day? And thank you both for doing this. I think this was very helpful, and thank you to everyone who attended.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us and arranging it, Sarah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, maybe next year we'll actually be able to do these in person.
That would be nice, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Good luck.
Bye, everyone.